Talk about those layoffs, man. I mean, just mentally what that does to you. I mean, do you start thinking about what, am I going to get back? Am I going to be the same guy? What do you do?
Oh, you definitely. I'm a big optimist. You know, you got to stay positive through it all. And don't get me wrong. There's times where it gets frustrating, especially coming off of the Israel fight because of what happened with that injury. That was very very frustrating. But then to go back, to fight, and then get injured again right after the fight, and then spend another year off and working on rehab and rebuilding. Yeah, it sucks, but you got to stay positive. You got to take it as it comes and just look for the positive in it, which, for me, I had a chance to step back, rest the rest of my body, rest my mind. Spent some very valuable time with my family, my daughter. So it was great.
Were you tired of preparing for this guy? I mean, I'm sure you spent a lot of time thinking about this guy, right?
Yeah, he's been on the back burner for over a year. I want to say I accepted the fight with him, the first fight with him, shortly after I fought Edmund. So November 2019, at the end of November. Shortly after accepting the fight, I got injured in December, and we were supposed to fight in March. And then when it came back around, when I got cleared, they asked if I want to fight him again. I was like, yeah, of course. We were supposed to fight, and it only makes sense. I didn't realize, I thought I had heard he had an injury, which is why he didn't fight in a while, but I didn't realize we went through the same injury.
Talk about your performance tonight overall. I mean, did you know the wrestling would hold up? Obviously, I'm sure you didn't want to be on your back against them.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. I knew it was scramble, scramble, scramble. But that's something that, we work on a lot, not accepting a position. The one thing I would say that he did really well, though, is, he was able to time some things. And when he put me against the cage, I could feel his pressure. And I know that he's a guy that likes to, he's not your traditional American wrestler. He's more of like that jiu-jitsu. They're going to grab you, get in, and try to get to your back. And I've seen him do that time and time again in his fights. And I knew I could feel him going for that. So I knew that I couldn't just try to freakishly scramble out of there and give up the position. So I had to be a little bit more patient, try to beat him up a little bit where I could, just little pop shots. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with it. Definitely, I think that we can go back, watch it, and do things better.
Last thing for me, what's next? Like you said, man, you've had a lot of time off. So, I mean, do you feel like a need to fight frequently to make up for it, or is there a plan? What's the idea next?
Definitely want to stay more active. It's been 2 long layoffs back to back. As long as I'm healthy, which I feel healthy, a little bumps and bruises here that you experience in any fight. But I'm going to get back to Vegas. I got some teammates that I need to help. Maki Pitolo's coming up, and he's been a very, very good training partner for me and helped me push when I needed it. So I'm going to get back. He's fighting, I believe, February 13th. I'm going to get back in there with him and help him grind through the rest of his camp, whatever it is, a week or 2 more weeks. And then maybe take a little time off to just go home to Hawaii and then get right back in the gym, keep grinding.
Right. Obviously, you said Antonio would probably go in for the shooting pretty early and often, so I'd assume have to work on a lot of defensive wrestling in this camp. So how did the ACL hold up the first few wrestling matches?
ACL held up well, actually. I'm so fortunate and lucky to be in Vegas. I have the UFC Performance Institute, great team there. Bo Sandoval, Heather Linden, the whole crew. Anyway, I did my surgery on a Wednesday, and I took Thursday off. And on Friday, we started my rehab already. So it was immediate. And we were grinding 5 days a week, all the way up until the pandemic. And then they wrote me a bunch of programs, and I did it at home 5 to 6 days a week, just grinding to make sure that, I didn't have that in the back of my mind, like, oh, is my knee going to be okay? And no problems, held up well. When I got back to training, I had to ease myself into it. Obviously, it's training like that, MMA, wrestling, and all that is a little bit different than just lifting weights, jumping and running and all of that. But no issues.
And then I feel like since these long layoffs, the top of the middleweight division has gone through this massive shift. You see got a lot of guys like Marvin Vettori, Kevin Holland.
Yep.
Israel's now going up to light heavyweight. So while you're on the shelf and you're seeing all of these new faces, that excites you that you get a bunch of fresh matchups moving forward?
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, 'cause I believe I'm still somewhere in there in the top 15. And that's all it takes, is a few good fights. And then with the shakeup in the division, Israel possibly moving on, who knows what he's going to do next. But if they vacate the title, then you probably have Whitaker and I don't know who, maybe Vettori now, fighting for a belt. And then, there's a few guys behind that. So, yeah, it's exciting. I think Romero left and You know, so we'll see. In this next year, I think it will tell a lot, and we'll see what happens in our division.
And finally, how was your sleep schedule for this fight? I know a lot of people are talking about the cars zipping around at the hotel.
Yeah, the cars were all right. You know what? I'm fortunate. We had a plan set in motion that we'll go to sleep at 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m. Wake up at 2 a.m. because we knew that we'd be fighting around 6 a.m. So that's what we did. And fortunately, every night we're pretty much able to get into bed. Some nights I fell asleep a little earlier, some nights a little later, but always waking up, going to sleep and waking up right around that time. The cars, you know, I think more when you're relaxing is when it like bothered me more, just because they're coming by, you feel it in your chest, and it's like shit. But sleep-wise, put on an eye mask, some earplugs, knocked right out. The only night that got all messed up was weigh-ins night, because the ceremonial weigh-ins were later. We didn't get back to the hotel till a little after 8, had some dinner, was asleep at 10, I think. So that was the only night. Other than that, so far so good. Only thing I'm dreading now is the flight back.
Hey, Brad. Sorry, over.
Hey.
You work alongside a lot of high-level guys at Xtreme, and there's also a lot of young, up-and-coming talent as well. What's the energy like in the gym at the moment, and just what's it like being there?
Oh, the energy is great. You know, like you said, we have a lot of high-level guys, and it's funny. The Hawaiian wave is there in full effect. You know, we have myself, Dan Ige, Puna Soriano, Maki Pitolo, Kaiboy Kamaka. I know there's a bunch in there that I'm missing. You know, other fighters in Bellator like Ty Guerder and in these other shows. So it's definitely good vibes in there. It's great. And being able to grind it out with these other high-level guys, other good 85ers, it just iron sharpens iron, you know. Oh, we have Dalsha in there as well now. So yeah, it's a very, very good feeling on the mats. You know, over my time at Xtreme Couture, we went through some ups and downs. I would say over the last 5 years or so, though, we've been on a constant grind up. So it's going well.
Cool. Congrats, man.
Thank you. Good. Thanks, guys.